This is the SF Productions Podcast Network.
The Doctor's Impossible Girl is revealed.
From the Pop Culture Bunker, I'm Mindy.
And I'm Mark. You can check out our audio podcast, How I Get My Way to Read Comics, on iTunes or on our website, sfpodcastnetwork.com. Well, Doctor Who just wrapped up Season 7 of the post-2005 run.
Yes, and we've been watching it, loyal viewers, since the run started with Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah. Basically get that via iTunes today, is how we get it. So, like many British shows, it came out in 2 sets of episodes, so they kind of do in batches.
You know, and I think a lot of TV shows here are copying that model now.
I think they are, because I think it makes more sense. It gives you more time to get them done. I think it gives the writers more time, so you don't get these kind of, treadmill episodes where you're not really getting anywhere and it doesn't really advance the story.
And so, just as an example, like Mad Men or something like that is doing it here.
Right. So we were introduced to Clara in the first half finale, but she died for the second time.
Right, she died once in the Christmas episode, right?
Right. Well, that's the Christmas episode.
Oh, so
and then prior to that, we were introduced to another version of Clara.
Oh, yes.
But it wasn't really Clara.
It was the Dalek girl, the souffle girl.
Exactly.
Souffle girl.
So the second half of the season is all about the impossible girl, in that she dies and then she comes back and it doesn't make any sense to the Doctor.
Yes.
And so the Doctor really wants to find out what the answer is. So the episodes, again, in the second half of the season, started with the Snowmen, where we're back in the Victorian age again with Vostra, Jenny Flint, and Strax.
Yes.
And so they're this odd trio.
I love those characters. I think they should have their own series.
Absolutely.
Just like for a while they were doing the Sarah Jane Chronicles, I think it would be fun to do this series.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have evil snowmen. So it's like this snow that has intelligence, so it can actually attack you. And the great intelligence is controlling all this. And Clara yet again.
Right, and this is Clara as a nanny, or...
At this point, yeah.
She was a nanny, I think?
No, not at this point. At this point, she's more of a she's a barmaid.
Oh, okay, yeah, she worked in the tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so there's that one. Then Bells of St. John. We're back to current day, and this is more of a story/commentary on Wi-Fi and constant connectivity, where these aliens are able to take over the internet and then control people and then actually absorb their essence into this computer.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb.
Yeah, because it had, anti-gravity motorcycle and all this. The Rings of Akaten. This is more of a classic Doctor Who story where the TARDIS lands on an alien planet, and the Doctor ends up saving the people there from themselves.
Yes.
I mean, it's you could pretty much take, I don't know, probably 100 Doctor Who stories that all follow that basic structure. Cold War. This was 1983. They're on Earth, and this Russian sub...
It was very Hunt for Red October.
Absolutely. Who then meets this alien warrior. And they've managed to trap this alien warrior.
Well, they picked it up out of ice.
Right.
They cut him out of an ice floe or something, and they were taking him back to Russia to study him.
Right. And the warrior decides that he can change the timeline by basically starting World War III.
Yes.
With the
he wants
nukes
to get
on the
back
sub.
to his people who he thinks are all dead. And,
right.
Yeah.
And there was Hyde, 1974. They're on Earth again. And it's all about ghost hunters and this pocket dimension. And the Doctor is scared because he's in the pocket dimension. Again, yeah. That wasn't the greatest episode. I mean, it was an era that we haven't seen a lot of.
Yes.
On at least in the current storyline.
Yes.
Right. Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. So this is, I think, more of a major plot point in the overall history, because we learn all this stuff about the inside of the TARDIS and spaces that we've heard about but never seen, like the swimming pool and the library.
It was fun in that way.
Yeah.
But, there was a lot of stuff about the story that made no sense at all.
Right. So, in this case, the TARDIS is picked up by this salvage crew in space that thinks it's a derelict, and the Doctor ends up confronting Clara about her previous lives before he ends up going back in order to stop the event from happening in the first place, so it's not like he actually ever asked her.
Right, so Clara doesn't remember any of this, at least right now.
Right. The Crimson Horror. We're back to Victorian times, a really big favorite of Doctor Who throughout the years, going back to Victorian times. There's more Vostra, Jenny Flint and Strax, this evil woman who has an alien parasite. And so at the end of that storyline, they're back in the present, and Clara's kids, because now she's a nanny in the current times, learns the secret of the Doctor, that he exists and that they're going through time, so now they insist on going along or they're going to tell their dad.
Yeah, that's good.
Which takes us to Nightmare in Silver.
And this was the Neil Gaiman episode this year. And
right.
I was looking forward to it because I really so much enjoyed last year's The Doctor's Wife, which he also wrote.
Mm-hmm. So the Cybermen are back, and it involves future soldiers and this amusement park, this derelict amusement park, and the Doctor fighting himself because he has a cyber implant, and so there's this whole mental battle going on between the implant and himself.
He's almost Borg-like.
Yeah.
He has the Jean-Luc Picard Borg thing.
Yeah. Other than just a tour de force by Matt Smith, the episode isn't all that great. Then, the name of the Doctor. Yet more Vostra, Jenny, Flint, and Strax, and even as you mentioned earlier, we want a spin-off of these three.
Yeah.
There's the it's Lizard Woman with her lesbian lover slash housemaid and this alien warrior
Santaran, right? Yes.
who only understands war, except he's a nurse.
Yeah.
So the Doctor ends up having to go to his future gravesite in order to save them. And Riversong shows up, but only as a ghost.
So she knows at this point, this isn't her. This is her from the computer that she went into in the library.
Right.
The first time we ever saw Riversong.
Yes.
So.
And the Doctor ends up having to enter his own timeline in order to save them in this case. And then Clara does the same in order to save him, which then distributes Clara throughout the entire Doctor's timeline, which is why she's been able to be there all these various times. We learn she's been there since the very beginning.
Yeah, and I had some problems with that.
Yeah, because there's this scene that they've digitally inserted Harkness, the first Doctor, and where he's actually going to get the TARDIS for the first time, and she points him toward another TARDIS.
But see, and that goes against the whole thing where in The Doctor's Wife they said the TARDIS picked him.
Right,
and,
that's true. That's true.
So, we'll see.
And we end up in this story seeing the rest of the Doctors through digital inserts, which is kind of a preview of what I think we're going to see in the next episode, which is in November, the 50th anniversary special. Remember, this show has been on the air in Britain, except for one break there between 93 and 2005, for 50 years. It's been on since 63.
Right.
So this is going to be the big 50th anniversary special. We know that David Tennant's involved. We pretty much know that the other Doctors are not involved. At least that's...
Unless it's digitally.
Which frankly makes more sense, because otherwise, how do you explain
old.
Their ages?
Now, overall, what did you think of this season, Mark?
I think there were some really great episodes. I like, frankly, a lot of Doctor Who, it's a little uneven.
I think they really kind of forced the Clara mystery.
Yes.
I was thinking back to the first and second season of the reboot with Rose, and how it was so surprising when you got to the whole bad wolf thing at the end.
Right, because it
had been there all along.
But it had been built over like 2 seasons.
And it was very subtle.
Right.
And it was there, but here they just kept trying to force you to really love this whole, let's figure out what's wrong with Clara thing.
Yeah.
I thought it felt really, really forced.
Well, I think because maybe they already knew that Matt Smith, this is the next point, Matt Smith is going to leave the show. It was just announced, as we're taping this yesterday, that he's leaving the show. And for those who haven't seen Doctor Who, that doesn't mean the show's over, because the Doctor character can regenerate. And so when he regenerates, it's a different actor. So that's how they change doctors, and how there have now been 11 doctors.
Right.
So maybe they knew going into the season that Matt Smith had already said, I'm done. And so they needed to have a storyline that could basically get through in, 6 episodes?
Yes, but I really feel like they could have still done it without it being so in your face about it.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't subtle.
Yeah.
And I think, Moffat being gone, I think that has a major impact on that.
Moffat's there.
Well, Moffat's there, but he's stepped back from being... He was writing most of the episodes a lot, and...
Well, see, I miss Russell Davies.
Yeah.
He was...
Yeah, Davies was the one... Yeah,
I mean, Moffat wrote a lot of the episodes I really love,
Yeah.
like the Angels.
Weeping Angels.
I can't remember what the name of the first episode was. But
Yeah.
Blink.
Yeah.
But I think he has more trouble doing long-term plotting than he does writing single episodes. That's just me.
Right.
But
and Davies certainly.
Yes.
He's the one that wrote the whole Bad Wolf.
Yes.
storyline.
So anyways, you can check out our audio podcast, How I Got My Wife to Read Comics, on iTunes or on our website, sfpodcastnetwork.com. From the Pop Culture Bunker, I'm Mindy.
And I'm Mark. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye-bye.